within and surrounding Baltimore. Don't ask him about preseason games, oh no. Stuffing things in Griffin Basso. Despite it being on the internet, he can call it what he wants, so Glenn Clark Radio. Glenn Clark Radio. Glenn Clark Radio. Duke sucks.
Very disappointing. We're just going to have to regroup and get ready to go play a long season. We got 16 games in front of us, and good football team, tough environment. Obviously, we did many good things, but we didn't play well at the end. Two big situations. The fourth down play. I mean, that's kind of a play that you don't really expect to happen. I mean, that's pretty lucky play, but they made it. And between the scrambles, I thought Josh Allen played a great game, obviously, especially at the end in the fourth quarter to make those plays, scramble plays, extended completions, and then a couple big pass plays. So that's it, and we're disappointed, but we'll be fine. Questions, Jeff?
Yeah, I got some questions. Got more than a couple. I'd say good morning, but I'd be lying. It is a Monday edition of Glenn Clark Radio. I'm Glenn. He's Griffin.
It was that nice, crisp football.
Season. We will be back for week 2 against the Browns, and we will see you there. It's all brought to you by 1-800-GAMBLER, the Costas Inn, Live Casino and Hotel Maryland, and Game Day Men's Health in Owings Mills, Frederick, and Columbia. Yeah, so you know what happened. The Ravens lost 41-40, and they lost in heartbreaking fashion. They were up by 15 late, and they blew it, and the teams don't normally do that. And the 277-0. We've seen all the numbers, and Griffin will continue to share them throughout the course of the morning, and you'll see them on the screen. And I none of them. I'll be numb to the next one the same way I was numb to the last one. Not to mean that they aren't all real. It's just I don't know what to say. I didn't get a chance to write a column last night because we were up obviously late doing game day. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. I've been struggling with it since the game ended. Because I want to have some loud, pronounced take. The truth is, I don't. The fan in me, I'm as pissed off, I'm as frustrated as all of you are. But on the flip side, what John Harbaugh said is right. Like, the season didn't end last night. They're not going to cancel the games moving forward. It doesn't guarantee that the result of last night's game will be the result of the game against the Browns or the Lions or any other team they play all season long or in the postseason. It doesn't even guarantee that the Ravens will be on the road in the postseason. Remember, the Ravens beat the Bills last year and then went on the road to Buffalo. Now, I get it. The AFC East does not appear to be a division that's capable of slowing the Bills down. I understand why we feel like the result of last night's game probably means the Ravens will have to be on the road in the postseason. Although, to be fair, right now, they just got to get there. But we don't know any of that. We have no idea. And that's the frustrating part about it, is because you go through something like this and you feel like you've been kicked in the teeth and kicked in the teeth and kicked in the teeth by this over the course of the last 5 or so years, course of the last 5 seasons. We say that like it proves that John Harbaugh is a terrible coach. But part of the reason why that happens is because other coaches don't have the chance. That part of it matters. It's as much about the process as it is about the result. The team is really good, and so they have double-digit leads in the fourth quarters of games. Other coaches don't have the chance. So how valuable is that statistic? I don't know. It does matter. It is factual that it has happened. But what does it say? I can't tell you. Other than that it's real. How does it keep happening? I don't know. I don't. Part of it is the defense doesn't make big plays. And I don't think that part can be ignored. And that maybe is the most frustrating part about last night, although there's a long list.
I mean, the offense scored 40 points. Is there still a way to...
Yeah, Derrick Henry still fumbled the ball in the big spot, right?
But the Bills still had 85 offensive snaps to 50 for the Ravens.
It's all of it, right? Like, this is why we can't... We want to dumb it down. Mm-hmm. We're just looking for something to be mad at and something to blame. And that's why it's easiest to blame the head coach, right? Just blame the coach. Because that's the encompassing part of all of this. And yet, John Harbaugh certainly didn't want Derrick Henry to fumble, and he didn't want Tyler Loop to miss an extra point, and he didn't want... Does that absolve him from any of the things that he shoulders the weight for? Not at all. But it's everything. It's multiple dropped interceptions. It's not being able to get home. I got very excited about Mike Green coming into the season. Did Mike Green play?
Officially, he did. Yeah,
he did. I'm aware. That, to me, is the biggest part of it, is a lack of major plays being made by the defense. And it's why, of course, I was not opposed to giving Kyle Hamilton a boatload of money, but I did bring it up then that Kyle Hamilton isn't Ed Reed, and that's the tricky part about it, that you want major playmakers, guys who make massive plays. And this defense just kind of doesn't have that. And I can't explain it. I don't know why that's the case, but they don't make big plays. And that's not unique to playing Josh Allen or the Bills. That's kind of their story. That's kind of their DNA. It's part of who they are. And it's been that way for some time. And that's not unique to Zach Orr. Mike McDonald defenses were not big playmaking defense. They were statistically very good defense, but they weren't making game-changing plays either. They have a problem making big plays. When someone has to win a football game defensively, they haven't done it in a very long time. Let's talk about something specific that happened. For those of you that put everything on John Harbaugh, I think the fourth down decision is the one that stands out the most. And it is worth pointing out that it might have been complicated. I don't know. Let me just play the clip so that we have the context before we talk to Ben Baldwin. John Harbaugh was asked about the fourth down decision, and John Harbaugh basically was dismissive and said, I think anybody would, here's the exact. I did think about going for it. If it's 4th and 3, if you don't get it, they're in field goal range. So I think punting it is probably what most people would do there. I have no idea what most people would do there, but even if that's the case, I still disagree with it. But I do think it might have been complicated by what Lamar Jackson said after the game, and I do think that part is relevant. If you missed it, here's what Lamar Jackson said.
Lamar, did you have a say on that 4th and 3, or were you coaches there at all?
No, I was cramping, so that's why I pretty much jogged out the field, because if I wasn't, I would need everybody here know I would have been trying to go for a 4th and 3. But, yeah.
Lamar.
Okay, so was Lamar Jackson even going to be on the field? He was on the field one play earlier. I don't know what happened on that play. Did it mean that he couldn't have been on the field? Because that certainly would have impacted this decision, but we didn't get nearly enough information about it. So I can't overreact to that part of it yet. I just want to talk about the decision itself. Joining us now, the Computer Cowboy, the man behind the fourth down bot, the person who we treat as Bible in terms of decisions like this. He is Ben Baldwin, and he is with us this morning here on GCR. Ben, first of all, I really appreciate you taking the time. It's Glenn Clark here in Baltimore. I apologize. I know you've worked like in a million places. How should I introduce you? Where should I say you are these days?
I'm some guy on the internet that has a fourth down bot. I think is a perfectly acceptable introduction. Thanks for having me. A lot to talk about with the end of this game.
There's no doubt about it. Ben, I saw you posted that you go for it in that spot. Your win percentage is 84%. The punt, your win percentage is 76%. And to be fair, that didn't work out for them. That should still be a good number, and they should still be able to win the game, and they didn't. Is that number definitive to you? Like, is it as simple as saying, hey, if this analytics says you've got a greater chance of winning doing this than that, then you do it? Can you explain when, if the numbers say what, does it make it an obvious decision to you?
Yeah, this is a great question, and I think there's a couple things worth pointing out here. The first is that end-of-game situations are the hardest to model and kind of come up with specific probabilities for. So if there's a time that we should have kind of the least confidence in what one specific model is telling us, or maybe when different models could point in different directions, it is an end-of-game scenario. So
Okay.
We should have that in the back of our minds. But at the same time, if you look at the ESPN model, they said almost the exact same thing. So both of our models had like 8 percentage points higher going for it than punting there. So even given all the uncertainty and no model is correct, no one model should be gospel. But if you have a bunch of different models that take different approaches and they all say the same thing, then setting aside the possible Lamar Jackson injury for a second, setting that aside, I think we can pretty confidently say that the right decision would have been to go for it. And I think that makes Harbaugh's comments so interesting, because we have seen him put the ball in Lamar's hands at the end of a game when they've had a chance to do it. And I think that was against the Chiefs maybe a couple of seasons ago when it was like a 4th and 1, and if they got the first down, they iced the game, they went for it, they got it. And it's not that different of a situation here, but here he's like, oh, everybody would have punted there, so I punted there and trust the defense instead of the offense that has been absolutely rolling throughout the whole game.
So there's a couple layers to what I want to ask to this. One, Ben, is that, like, does the model even take into account you have Lamar Jackson, right? Like, to me, it seems like the model is based on the data and the game circumstance, but I would think that, like, if we were to come up with, like, a hypothetical, model, having Lamar Jackson might make these numbers even more dramatic.
Yeah, and Derrick Henry too.
Right.
If we think that the Ravens would be more likely to convert a 4th and short, it only does to the extent that it looks at how high scoring the game is expected to be beforehand, just because that's the information that's easy to grab. But what it doesn't know, and what a coach maybe should be taking into account, is both these teams have put up 40 points this game. These are the last two quarterbacks that have won MVP. If there's a side of the ball that's going to be the stronger unit for both of these teams, we would expect it to be our offense. So if we're going to put the ball in the hands of one unit to win the game, then we should probably be leaning on our offense here.
It feels like it should be that way throughout the NFL at this point, right? Like, it just feels to me, and again, I'm the dumb guy, but it feels like the data would say it's easier to get 3 yards offensively than it is to get a stop defensively in the NFL at this point. Like, it just sort of feels like we have enough information to decree that, even if you don't have Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, and that's right. When you have the chance to end the game and the conversion, your chance of winning the game, if you convert, is 100%, then that 100% is going to weigh really heavily. So unless it's 4th and longer, then yes, any model is going to lean towards trying to convert, because if it's 4th and 1, 4th and 2, 4th and 3, then offenses have pretty good chance of converting there.
To your point, Ben, I think that maybe one of the perplexing things, and it's not just that game against the Chiefs from a few years back, like the Ravens starting in 2019, when they were kind of still underdogs in the early Lamar Jackson era, felt like they were the team that was like reimagining analytics and reimagining data and aggressiveness. And the data from the last couple of years has suggested they've almost gone the exact opposite way. And I don't know if some of that is, well, we don't feel like we're the underdogs anymore. We don't feel like we need to take risks. But I think that's maybe part of what we're struggling to come up with and make heads and tails of, is why the team that has this outstanding offense would be the team that suddenly doesn't want to be aggressive anymore.
Yeah, that's a great question, and something I've wondered with the Ravens as well. I think maybe part of it is that there were a couple of years where they had a really good defense, the Mike McDonald years, and I think coaches tend to be more willing to put faith in their defense when they have a really good defense, even if they do have a Lamar Jackson and a great offense and everything. And yeah, I remember the 2019 season. So I'm from Seattle. I'm a Seahawks fan. I remember that game they went and played in Seattle.
Yeah.
they had a fourth down, and John Harbaugh went to Lamar Jackson. He was like, "Do you want to go for this?" Basically asked Lamar if he wanted to, and Lamar was like, "Yeah, I want to go for this." And they went for that, and that ended up turning the tide in that game. They ended up winning that game in Seattle, and it looks a lot different now. Although again, this time maybe Lamar Jackson would have felt differently because of the cramps he was going through, but it is a lot different than when it was when they were kind of the up and coming team.
Yeah, that part of it obviously is relevant, and we didn't get a full clarity to that last night, and hopefully John Harbaugh will give us more today, but I'll bet he doesn't. To the point, our friend Jonas Schaefer from the Baltimore Banner compiled this from Aaron Schatz's rankings, said you go back to 2019, the Ravens were the most aggressive fourth down team in the NFL. By 2023, they were the 31st most aggressive fourth down team, and last year they were the 17th most aggressive fourth down team, and that's the part. And I get the circumstance does play a factor into all of that, and not all fourth downs are made equal, but it makes no sense. I did want to ask about one other play last night, Ben, from an analytics standpoint, because it was brought up after the game and kind of dismissed. They were up 15, 40-25, and Tyler Loop missed an extra point. In that moment, they had the chance to try to go for two and go up 3 scores. And I get it, like the likelihood of a team converting two-point conversions if you go up by 16. I can understand the thought process, and ultimately the Bills got 3 scores anyway, so maybe it's kind of moot. But, like, what did you make of that? Did you think about that at all, and the idea that you could go for 2 and you could be the aggressor to make it a 3-score game?
Yeah, I think there I'd be probably close to indifferent between those decisions, just because it is pretty hard for a team to get 2 two-point conversions. And if you don't get it there, then they only have to convert one time. Yes, I understand the argument with the 3-score game, and maybe it would be a slight lean, but in general, when you sit down and look at the numbers on things, then it's the fourth down decisions that move the needle a lot, and the 2-point conversion decisions are usually less so, unless it's something super obvious, like you're down by 2 and deciding whether or not to go for 2.
Right. You say, nah, I'd rather not. Let's not do this here. Ben, I want to ask a dumb guy question, and I hope you'll understand where I'm coming from. Because one of the most frustrating things for me is that when I talk to somebody who Ravens.
Yeah, this is a good question, and I'm sure something that every Ravens fan is wrestling with after this has happened again. And so I don't think this is a dumb question at all, and I think the answer isn't super clear. I think, like most stats nerds, if they only turned on the stats portion of their brain, they would say, like, there's probably nothing predictive of this, and if we like gather data on a bunch of teams that have lost games where they had X% chance of win, then there's no more likelihood of that continuing on in the future. And I'm guessing that's probably most of the answer. My concern, if I were a Ravens fan, would be Harbaugh being so conservative in these situations, where maybe if there's something that's like repeating over time, it's the tendency to kind of tense up at the end of games or something like that. And it reminds me a little bit of the Bills, actually, where we have these 2 great AFC teams, the 2 teams that haven't been able to get over the hump and get past the Chiefs and get to the Super Bowl. And both of these teams have just had the most heartbreaking losses. And some of that is their own misfortune. You can look at the Bills in the 13-second game and all these other crazy ways they've won games. And some of it is probably that there's these 3 great teams in the AFC, and in the past, one of them has been just a little bit better. And if you're the Ravens, all you want to be one of the teams that'll be there in the end. I think they will be there this year. It would be a shock if they weren't in the divisional round of the playoffs, and you just want to be playing at a high level and healthy once January rolls around. And that's not a satisfying answer now, but if you look back a year, the Ravens destroyed the Bills at the beginning of the year last year, and the teams played again in the playoffs, and everybody knows what happens then. So losing to the Bills now doesn't really mean a whole lot.
This is the part that's tough for me, because I know what you're saying is correct, Ben. I know it's accurate, and you're much smarter than I am. The problem is, like, I keep coming back to, right, but the track record in the playoffs tells us it's not going to be better than that's the frustrating
Bills fans
part.
could have said the same thing last year, and the Bills finally got past the Ravens at least, but not the Chiefs, unfortunately.
Yeah. Oh, God, man. You can't make us feel better. That's the problem. You
Yep.
just can't make us feel better. But I still appreciate you taking the time nonetheless. Ben, what can we plug for you?
I as alluded to earlier, I have a fourth round bot. It runs on X and Blue Sky. I post some graphs on the internet. So if you're interested in any of this stuff or found this conversation interesting, then I'm on those sites.
Ben_bot_Baldwin, and of course at Ben B Baldwin as well on Twitter. How you follow him, Ben? We use your stuff much more frequently than perhaps you're in a ubiquitous part of what we do, and I apologize that we haven't done this more frequently over the years. I appreciate you taking the time for us, and we'd love to chat again, man. Thank you for doing this.
Yep. Thanks for having me, and glad you found it useful. That's what it's there for. So very glad to hear that. Thanks.
Ben Baldwin with us here on GCR. Appreciate him taking the time. I don't know what to make of the Lamar part of that conversation. Because to me, that's there are lots of them, and they're all loud. But the loudest part to me is the ball needs to be in Lamar Jackson's hands with the game on the line, and let him go win the game. But if legitimately what he was trying to tell us last night is I was cramping to a point where I could not go back out on the field, and there wasn't a follow-up there, so we don't know that. But there's enough gray area there that perhaps the decision was taken out of John Harbaugh's hands to some extent. I don't know. The Ravens could have taken a timeout there to try to catch the breath, make sure he's good to go. Because, again, you get that fourth down, the game's over. Today's show is also brought to you by Live Casino and Hotel Maryland, the best place to watch all the big events, and every football Sunday all season long is Sports and Social inside Live Casino and Hotel. Joining us now from the Bleed Purple podcast, he is our friend, former Ravens tight end, the great Dan Wilcox is with us once again this morning here on GCR. What's going on, brother? How are you?
Man, I'm great, Glenn. How are you guys doing?
How can you say you're great today? How can you say that?
I don't have to. Even though I took the loss, I didn't take the loss.
That's true.
If that makes sense.
You're not in the locker.
So it was a tough game to watch last night. I felt like it was watching the Atlanta Falcons play the New England Patriots in the Super Bowl. Get outplayed last night. I feel like we got out coached last night some, and we had moments in the game where I just felt like we was playing to be safe instead of just being aggressive. And to me, I'm the type of guy that always wants to be on the attack. I never want to play catch. I want to always be aggressive and attack the team that we're playing against. That's on offense. That's on defense. I don't care what it is. We're going to bring the fight to you. We're not going to let you bring the fight to us. And it was one of those things where we jumped up on these guys and we beat up on them pretty much all game long. We never stopped them defensively the entire game, and they never stopped us defensively the entire game. But when you start looking at the numbers and the stats from last night, almost 500 yards of offense they put up on our defense. We only had like 198 some yards passing, but had like 200 and almost 40 yards rushing. Derrick Henry, I think almost broke 200 again. We had the one turnover. It was only one turnover in the whole game. We lost the turnover battle. We had opportunities, had interceptions, and we missed them. We dropped them. We did things that was detrimental to our success in this game. The defense could not get off the field. The biggest alarming number that I saw from the stats was the amount of reps that the defense had. The defense was on the field. They couldn't get off the field all game long. I mean, they was on the field almost 80 plays. Usually on offense and defense, you average about 60 plays apiece, and because of the defense being on the field for 78 plays, the offense was only on the field for 50 plays, so the defense played almost 30 more reps than the offense did. They was dog tired in the fourth quarter. They didn't have anything left. It looked like we was running in quicksand. Our legs looked like they was, mushy, and we just looked like we was just pulling the truck behind us that fourth quarter. We just didn't we didn't fly to the ball. We wasn't bouncing around. We wasn't juiced up. And it was because of the fact that I think our guys were just dog tired. Remember, most of these guys didn't play football the entire preseason. So this is their first preseason game. And I think I had this conversation with you last year, Glenn.
Mm-hmm.
Now that the way preseason goes, there's only 3 games and you're giving the young guys all the time to play. The older guys don't get a chance to touch the field till week 1. So this is their first preseason game. Put out a hell of a valiant of an effort. It was a great, great, great game. The most exciting game I think I've seen in a long time, and hey, this is what the seasons are going to be like this year. It's going to be crazy. I thought our defense would have did much better because I thought after last season we kind of worked out all the kinks. I just wasn't expecting to see our defense give up 41 points. And I equate a lot of that to coaching and just trying to be safe and just don't do too much. We didn't put a lot of pressure on Josh Allen all night and allow him to just sit back and just kind of pick our DBs apart. I don't see the win in that in any aspect of life.
He is former Ravens tight end Dan Wilcox. He's with us here on GCR. Dan, in that way, are you able to kind of say, hey, it's 1 week, it's one game, like forget about all the fact that this keeps happening? Or like, is the trend too troubling to you? Does it make you feel like, yeah, they're going to be good, but until proven otherwise, this is kind of going to be part of their story and might be what bites them in the ass again?
Yeah, I mean, anytime you give up a game like this, it doesn't work in your favor ever, And there's sometimes you can lose a game like this and you're like, all right, we need to get that loss out of the way. And that's how you look at it and you just move forward, But to lose a game of this magnitude, this is your get back game. This is the game that Mark Andrews dropped the game winning, not the game winning, but the 2-point conversion that would have tied us up last year to possibly put us in a situation to go to a Super Bowl again. These games always come back to hunt you. I don't care how great you are, we can go undefeated the rest of the season. And we're still like, man, we would have been undefeated if we hadn't lost that one game against Buffalo by 1 point. So it always come back to you on every rep.
Yeah.
I want to feel like I dominated you by the time the game was over with. And that makes me feel like I'm my best version of me. So no matter what, there's no way the guys could come out of this being happy. And the defense, the Baltimore Ravens defense will never be happy giving up 41 points. I don't care what the scenario is. I don't care who the quarterback is. I don't care if it's Brady and Josh Allen and Tua and Marino and Montana all back there together playing quarterback. The Ravens defense will never be happy with giving up 41 points.
Dan, I think we talked coming in about the decision to punt late in the game on 4th and 3. And as I said, I know it's complicated. I don't know what fully the story. Lamar said after the game that he was cramping, and maybe Lamar wasn't able to go back out on the field in that moment, so there wasn't a decision. But we don't know that either, and he had been on the field every play before that. If Lamar was capable of being on the field for that play, what did you make of the decision to punt in that spot? And what do you make in general of a Ravens team that, in the early years of Lamar Jackson was setting themselves up to say, we're going to be the aggressive team. We're going to be the team that's always going for it. But in recent seasons has sort of been less inclined to be so aggressive on 4th down.
Well, a lot of the going for it on 4th was analytics based. And, the Ravens have a whole analytics department in their organization. And they went off what the stats tell you, and in this game, a lot of times that's how you win. You go by the analytics, you look at what they say, and if there's a high probability of you getting that first down, you go for it. And trust me, I was sitting right here at home like, what are we doing? Go for it. I was like, what? No, don't put it. Dang, we haven't stopped these guys all game. Don't leave it in the defense hand. Like we got to, you got Lamar, you got Derrick Henry, you got Zay Flowers. Everybody kind of got off last night. Lamar had a hell of a game. Derrick Henry had a hell of a game. Zay Flowers had a hell of a game. You only threw the ball to Mark Andrews one time. He couldn't wait to try to put a stamp on this thing. He would have been there to catch that ball. D-Hop even had a great catch or two that made you be like, damn, boy, that's our third receiver. We're gonna be problems for people all year long. So in my mind, Glenn, I was like, go for it too. But I mean, we was on the 40, I think the 41-yard line on the, on the opposite side of the 50. We wasn't on the side going in. We was on the side trying to get past 37.
Yep.
Yeah, so it wasn't, not going for it was probably the right thing to do if you're a head coach. And it's one of those things, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. If I go for it and don't get it, everybody like, that's the stupidest damn decision.
Is that true? Dan, I'm really wondering about that, right? Is that because I talked to our friend Tyus Bowser about it last night, and because I said I could understand why a defensive player would say, dude, do you really trust us that little that you're going to go for 100%. it? And he said that's not the case. Like he said, we all want Lamar Jackson to go because that's Lamar Jackson. Like we want him to be the case. So I do wonder at this point, like, would we be all that critical of it, or are we at a place where even the guys on the team would say, no, our best chance of winning games is always going to be this guy having the ball in his hands because he's one of the greatest football players we've ever seen.
Yeah, I always say football and fans are like relationships and media too, right? It's like having 3 different girlfriends. You got to answer to the players. That's the one girlfriend. It's like you got to answer to the fans. That's another girlfriend. You got to answer to the media. That's another girlfriend.
Yeah, I can't eat
If you
that
got
many dinners. I can't do it, man.
yeah, if you got 3 girlfriends, they never gonna be happy. You can't make all 3 of them happy. There's nothing you could possibly do to make all 3 of them happy. So no matter what John Harbaugh would have done in that situation, there was going to be a problem if it didn't go down the right way. Now, if he did it and we got the first down, oh, he's the best coach in the world. It was such a gutsy call, great call by John Harbaugh, and everything's great. But all he's doing is making a decision to go for it. He's still not calling the play. And you got to call the right play in a situation like that. If you call the wrong play in a situation like that, now you're putting your OC in a situation where they're going to be on his ass. So you have to weigh out all your odds. And it would have been a very gutsy call in that situation to go for it. I think Andy Reid would have probably went for it, but Andy Reid is the type of guy that has 3 or 4 plays in a situation like that where he know these 3 or 4 plays are hard to stop.
And how do you not? That's the Dan. I'm not trying. Yeah. I'm not yelling at you. I'm not.
No, that's great, man. Because that's what it's about. It's situational football. Some coaches go over situational football like there's no tomorrow. When I remember my last year when Cam Cameron came in and he was our OC for that 1 year, my last year with him. And that's what he did a really good job of, situational footballs, right? Putting you in situations in practice. All right, this is 3rd and 3. The game is on the line.
Yep.
And Harbaugh was all for it. We did everything. So different coaches coach differently. I don't know if the Ravens are actually doing situational football situations every single day like we did when Cam Cameron came in. I felt like we was ready for those situations, and we knew it was going to be 1 or 2 plays that was going to get called. This is the play we're going to call in that situation. But a lot of times you don't, the way practice is structured now, I don't even think you got that amount of time. Remember, we was in 2-a-days and 3-a-days when I played. These guys got 1-a-days now. They don't have time to do all that extra stuff that we was able to do back then. So you got to be really careful with how you plan your schedule and how you're going to practice with these guys. And even with 2 or 3-a-days, they was breaking all types of rules back then. There was no social media, to record you and people to tell on you when you ran over practice an hour, So it's different. It's a lot different now. Everything is kind of, you got to be structured. You got to be on point. You can't do anything sideways. You lose your job. You risk being in the media for being over practice more than 20 minutes, so you just got to be smart.
At the risk of committing Daniel on Daniel crime here, I asked this question. Can the Ravens win a Super Bowl with Daniel Falele as one of their starting offensive linemen?
Oh, my bad. You said Falele. Yeah. He's a problem right now. Yeah. Like the whole game last night, every time somebody was in Lamar's face or Henry's face, it was Falele inflicted. I don't know what we're going to do about him. Like right now, I don't know if it's a weight issue. He just need to lose some weight. And maybe he can move around a little bit better, but he's just too stiff right now, and he's the weak link on the O-line, and it's blatant, and I don't know how we fix that right now in the middle of this thing. And sometimes you think like, man, just stick with the kid, he'll get better. He has great guys on both sides of him, and I know me being an undersized tight end, anytime I lined up next to Zeus or J.O., I was like, thank God, like I got help. My help is freaking phenomenal. Like it was like. Yeah. It was no worries. I knew I was the undersized guy. I knew I had to block these big ass DNs and, the James Harrisons of the world and the Michael Strahans of the world. But I knew I had help. If I was a 1-on-1 situation, I came across that line and I was 1-on-1, I was like, oh, God, help me. Sometimes I would just cut the guy just off rip just to slow him down because I just wanted him to know, like, hey, if you plan on coming hard every rep, there's a possibility you might get a helmet to the thigh. So sometimes I would just start off with a cut first play of the game just so they'll know I'm capable of doing it. But Falele, I mean, he has some stuff that he got to work on, man. And, having Rosengarten and those guys right next to him, bro, it's I don't know how it's capable to be as bad as he was, pretty much through the preseason and now. You got some guys next to you that are phenomenal players, man. You got to work harder to become a better player. I don't know how this will pan out later on in the season because guys do get better as the season go on most of the time. maybe he'll get better. But if he continue to do what he's doing right now, people are going to exploit us all year long, man. It's not going to be a good season for us because he's right now he's the weakest link on the O-line.
Well, and they clearly don't trust Ben Cleveland, right? Like they've had every opportunity to let that guy play football. They clearly don't trust him.
Yeah, I think I like Cleveland better though, me personally. I don't know what Cleveland's done. I don't know. Maybe he slept with somebody's daughter or something, or
but they signed him.
Wife.
That's the crazy part is that they still re-signed him. It's nuts to me that they don't.
Sometimes you re-sign him just to punish him. You know, like I'm gonna re-sign you. I'm not gonna let nobody else get you, but you won't play. I just want you to know that you should have never touched my daughter or my wife. You know, I don't know, man. It's just I like Cleveland. You know, I don't have a problem with them at all. You know, at the end of the day, you need somebody that's going to show effort. And I'm just not 100% sure that 77 is the answer to that.
Well, he certainly had no answers for Ed Oliver. There is no doubt about that.
Yeah, we put Oliver in the Pro Bowl tonight.
Oh, my God, man. I mean, he's a monster. Like, he's a hell of a player. I don't want to take anything away from him. Like, he's done that to a lot of really good football players, but yikes.
Okay.
Yikes.
Well, let's see what he do next week.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's going to have to – I think it's going to be hard to match his output, what he did to get against 77 to everybody else.
I get it. All right. The next time we talk, hopefully it's going to be after the Ravens win. Let's just, wipe the taste out of the mouth, and we're feeling better in a couple of weeks.
Everybody don't have a Josh Allen. Everybody ain't putting 41 points up on our defense. So we got to figure that out. We got to stop the bleeding for real, for sure. Like, I hate that fact that we started the season off with a game like that, Glenn. I really thought we were finna start the season off with a phenomenal win last night. And then all of a sudden I'm like, I got to do a podcast after this mess. I wasn't ready for it.
Remind everybody about that podcast.
The We Bleed Purple podcast. We shoot once or twice a week. Me and Matt Trigger, we are all over the place this year, and we will be having a lot of great guests on this year. We started our own podcast, the We Bleed Purple podcast, and we're now on YouTube. Facebook, so you can get on there and do live interview, live questions, from the fans. It's a pretty awesome thing, man. I'm glad we got a chance to do something on our own. We own it outright 100%. Please like and subscribe, man. We're going to continue to push the podcast and see how it goes.
I love you, man.
Love you too, man.
I appreciate you doing this, and we will talk again in a couple weeks, and hopefully it's much more pleasant at that point.
Man, say less, Glenn.
Thank you.
Say less.
Appreciate you, dude. It's good to see you too, man.
You too.
Dan Wilcox, former Ravens tight end, with us here on GCR. It's not getting better. It's not getting better. All right. Today's show brought to you by the Maryland 5-Star. The Maryland 5-Star is back. We're looking forward to being out there at Fair Hill in Cecil County for the Maryland 5-Star. This October, go to maryland5star.us to get your tickets for the 5th edition of the Maryland 5-Star. Not just a world-class sporting event, but a celebration of the fall here in the state of Maryland. Come back in. A lot more to do. We need to get we need to do slaps to the helmet. We need to go over picks, although I would prefer not to. That's all on the way. It's Glenn Clark Radio. Feeling sluggish, unfocused, or not like yourself? It could be low testosterone. At Game Day Men's Health, we specialize in testosterone replacement therapy to help men boost energy, improve mood, and regain confidence. Our treatments, including testosterone cypionate, are safe, natural, and tailored to fit your lifestyle with weekly injections or pellet therapy. Get started today with a free testosterone test and feel the difference. GameDayMen'sHealth.com. Game Day Men's Health, where men reclaim their game.
For fans of the Costas Inn, and who isn't, I have some great news. Now there's a second location to go along with 4100 North Point Boulevard. This one is at the Timonium OTB. This is Stan the Fan, and I have been a fan of the Costas Inn and Triantafalo's family for going on 30 years. They're open for lunch and dinner, same great Costas feel, same great menu and quality food you've been enjoying for well over 50 years. The exact address on your GPS is 2200 York Road, and their phone number at the new location is 667-406-1975. If you're new to the Costas experience, get ready for a real treat. All wrapped up in a new spacious dining room in Timonium at the OTB. If you want steamed crabs, you have them, and the full menu at 4100 North Point Boulevard. The number for reservations there at Costas, 410-477-1975.
Get ready, Baltimore. On Saturday, September 6th, the world's top pro cyclists return for the Maryland Cycling Classic, America's top pro road race. Cheer on elite men's and women's teams from around the globe as they battle it out on a brand new circuit through Charm City. Enjoy a free festival, fan zones, and all the action at Harbor Point and the Inner Harbor. Watch live on Maryland Public TV or join the live stream at marylandcyclingclassic.us. Don't miss the speed, the strategy, the spectacle. The Maryland Cycling Classic, September 6th in Baltimore.
Game day gets even better at Live Casino. Score a live jersey on September 6th and bucket hat on September 27th. Plus, catch our big plays, big pays hot seats on select game days. When the home team scores, the prize pool doubles. And we'll give away a $50 sports and social gift card with every touchdown. Take it to the end zone at Live Casino. At Arundel Mills, must be 21. Please play responsibly. For help, visit mdgamblinghelp.org or call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Gambling can be a fun and entertaining experience, but there are risks involved. If you're planning on betting on the game at the casino or on your phone or computer, know your limit, stay within it. Set a budget and a time to stop. Remember, gambling isn't a financial solution and it doesn't mix well with alcohol or drugs. Know the risks and have a plan before you begin gambling. For free and confidential services, call 1-800-GAMBLER 24/7 or go to helpmygamblingproblem.org.
Make the most out of every day in your Toyota RAV4. Available in hybrid or gas-only models. A RAV4 can get you where you want to go in style. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals on new RAV4s from your local Toyota dealer today.
Coming back in here with Glenn and the other guy, Garrett, whatever his name is. You know who they are.
All right, back in here on GCR as we continue along on a Monday edition of the program, an unpleasant Monday edition of Glenn Clark Radio. There's no way around it. Stan the Fan Charles, Ross Grimsley, Luke Jackson, they'll get together with you a little bit later on today, 5 o'clock, Facebook.com/PressBoxSports, YouTube.com/PressBoxOnline, or PressBoxOnline.com/video. You can check it out as they'll be talking baseball, which last week, ironically, was pleasant. For the most part. Yeah, I mean, for the most part.
They won some games?
They did. They went 5-1, which is something they hadn't done at all, which is crazy. We'll post 3 up and 3 down at glennclarkradio.com. I'm not going to waste time with it. I get it.
Why not? It was a pleasant,
stop it.
best
Stop
week of
it.
baseball we've had.
Look, man, I was at the game Saturday night. It was wonderful. It couldn't have been more wonderful. I've never been happier that people in my party had to pee, because we only stayed in because we thought we were going to see a no-hitter, and then when Jackson Holiday hit the home run, we got up and left our seats and said it's time to go. And then, thankfully, my sons had to pee, my buddy had to pee, and that slowed us down to the point where after Jeremiah Jackson's double,
he can hold his bladder. He didn't have to pee.
I think I chose to pee because everybody else was peeing. I'm the type that's like, let's get out of here. Let's get out. You know, my wife was into it then. She's like, well, now we have to stay. All right, we'll stay. And I'm obviously quite glad we did. It was a truly unforgettable evening. I really did want to write about that because it is like this is why you sports, like this is why is because you just never know like when you're going to feel. My kids will talk about that forever. Being at that game and experiencing that and everybody acting like maniacs and running around and hugging each other and like they'll talk about that eternally.
I was at Friday night's game when the Messiah walked
was neat.
off. That was great.
That was
Well,
neat.
it was the best moment of the year for about 24 hours.
Yeah.
And yeah, same thing. It felt like it was 1-1 in the ninth, and it felt like
There's slaps. You know the rules. 5. Pick 5 Ravens. 2 must be offensive players. 2 must be defensive players. The 5th can be whoever you'd like, another offensive player, another defensive player, special teams player, or a coach. I know that a few of you are going to cheat, and you're going to put Trenton Simpson on your list as a defensive player because you want him on the list as well as somebody else. That's cheating. You can't do it. You're not putting him on the list because of what happened defensively. You just know that. So he's not going to be on my list, but he damn well should be. That can never, ever, 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 ever happen. It's utterly insane, and it speaks to the lack of focus in those moments. That part of the reason why you dive there is you're not really thinking about all you're thinking about is like doing something cool. You're not really thinking about the repercussions of what could be. Inexcusable, but can't be on the list because somebody else speaks for that category. And he does not qualify for whatever happened on the defensive side of things. Number 5. Derrick Henry's number 5 because Derrick Henry has to be on the list, but he sure as F can't be any higher on the list.
He is.
He
higher
can't
on the
be.
List. I mean,
no question he cannot be.
The fumble was maybe the biggest
That's
play
fine.
of the game.
Derrick Henry was winning the game for them.
I understand that.
Derrick
He also
Henry
lost
has
the
to be
game.
on the list because of the play, but Derrick Henry cannot be any higher than 5th on the list. He cannot.
Absolutely
be.
can.
No, he definitely cannot be.
Why did they lose the game last night? I mean, there's
because they gave up
50,000
40
reasons.
points. That's how they lost the game.
I get it. I
That's
get it.
not. Derrick Henry did not lose
think-
the game for them by
I honestly
any stretch of the
think there's
imagination. And
possible
any
order for
suggestion that he
this.
did, no offense, is dumb.
Okay.
It's just
I mean,
idiotic. I'm defaulting to the dumbest of dumb because all I can remember is one thing that happened in the game.
It was the
a
biggest play of the game.
No, it wasn't the biggest play of the game. It wasn't. You want to say
There's
it was
there's an argument he should be number
You want to
one.
say it was the most pivotal play of the game? That it was where things turned the most? Fine. But it wasn't the biggest. And you don't get to say, this is the one play that matters and all the other plays don't matter. And what you sure as F don't get to do is say that Derrick
literally
Henry
do that.
is the reason why
the
they
segment
lost
we
the
do
game.
tomorrow is this play mattered more than all the rest. So, I mean, all right. Roger Rosengarten.
And that's, by the way, that's the reason why we do 2 different segments. And it's the reason why Derrick Henry can't be higher on the list. Is because we do the other segment to recognize that. This play was the most turning point of the game. But Derrick Henry was the reason why they were going to win the football game. Derrick Henry has to be on the list. I get it. The fumble was awful. But putting him any higher than 5 is just dumb. And not recognizing the totality of a football game. And choosing to live in a vacuum where we just want to that dropped interceptions. The Ravens have a problem with making plays. It's inexplicable. The number of times that there are plays to be made. This goes back to the Cleveland game a year ago where Jameis Winston begged them to beat him. And they couldn't. I will never understand what's happened to this group that they are incapable of making the big plays when they're right there to be made. And it's not unique to play. That's why it's so frustrating. Chidobe Awuzie and Malachi Starks had never played in a game for the Baltimore Ravens yesterday. And yet they were the ones. It's insane. It's insane. Because who do you yell at? Whose fault is it? Ultimately, it's just the fault of the guys that don't make the plays. And the plays were there to be made. For all of the praising of Josh Allen. And I get it. There's going to be lots of it. That's what happens when you win. When you win, nothing matters.
No more discussion about MVP now.
Not today. But he couldn't have been more inclined to throw the ball to the other team. The Ravens just for some reason had no interest in catching it. And Starks deserves. There's plenty of defensive issues, and like if Roquan Smith's on your list because he just didn't make an impact, I have no problem with Roquan Smith being on the list because there is a Roquan Smith problem.
I went with another guy that made no impact. I mean, apparently he had one QB hit. I couldn't find it. Odafe Owe is my number 4.
It's fine.
I mean, he was nowhere to be found. He's your edge rusher that they started
part of
over
that
Mike
is the way that
Green.
part of that is the way that they scheme, which makes no sense to me, but. Fine, whatever. The plays that are there,
he was irrelevant.
The plays that are there to be made that aren't being made is a trend that has gone on with this defense insanely. The balls are coming to them. They're not catching them. It's like there's a panic whenever the ball is coming towards a defender anymore. What do I do with this? I don't know how to explain it. I'm at a loss. And again, it's not the same guys. It's 2 guys who have never been a Baltimore Raven before yesterday. And both of them dropped interceptions that were right there. And I get it, the Awuzie one maybe was a little bit more difficult of a play to make because the ball was going to the ground than the Starks was. And I'm sort of choosing the guy that's the veteran instead of the guy that's the rookie. But if you want to make the argument that hey, you're the first-round pick. You're the guy that's supposed to come in here and be the playmaker. I got no problem with criticizing Malachi Starks because it was right there. And, of course, that drive led to a touchdown.
I felt like every drive did, but yeah.
I mean, it's unbelievable. Awuzie gets to be number 4 for me.
Yeah, I mean, just Owe just wasn't. I mean, they're consistently, it's more pressure from Travis Jones and Nnamdi Madubuike in the interior. 40-year-old Kyle Van Noy is getting more pressure consistently than Odafe Owe, your first-round pick, who we still have zero answers on if this guy is a thing. And seemingly more and more, it seems like he's not, even though he had double-digit sacks last year. Somehow, maybe he'll find a way to get 3 sacks and a half again to raise his sack total by the end of the year. But Odafe Owe is my number 4 here. I couldn't I couldn't give much more grief on Malachi Starks and Awuzie. Maybe it's because they're new here and just inherently it feels like interceptions are fluky plays.
Not when they hit you in the hands.
I understand that. I mean, it is frustrating.
I'm not going to judge. I'm not going to judge a team in general for not having.
He does make an interception.
What's that?
Because Kyle Hamilton comes back with a broken finger and does make an interception. So it is frustrating. I mean, it's hard. And we don't get to talk about Kyle Hamilton either because he had an unbelievable game.
Daniel Faalele is at 3 because he was bad. I mean, he was really bad. There's a bigger problem there. I don't know what to do about it. Daniel Faalele is number 3.
Jair Alexander was my number 3.
Number 2
with Keon Coleman. Maybe it is impossible to have the wherewithal when you're 20 yards out from the end zone after you just gave up 2 bad plays. Now I got to let this guy score. But I mean, you got to let that guy score.
Well, it's that, and it's the pass interference in the end zone.
Mm-hmm. It's all
but I didn't get the practice, and you're Jair Alexander, man. If that's what this comes down to, is that I just don't have it. Like, that just means that you're not the guy that we thought you might still have the chance to be.
I don't know what the correct answer is, so that's why you have to default to John Harbaugh, I think.
It's a default. It is a default for sure.
And it keeps happening, so it's easy as well.
And it's the little things. It's the what happened before the 2-minute warning in the first half. It's the I'm still befuddled by the Henry fumble and it was even more confusing. I shared video of it last night on Twitter. I don't know what happened here. Where did the play clock reset? Because I saw there were 20 seconds on the play clock when the ball was snapped, but it shouldn't have been 20 seconds on the play clock. It still should have been 9, though, which also shouldn't still be happening. I pulled it from NFL Plus, and so you can sort of see it, but it's a screen grab, to be fair. I don't know what the story is here. The play clock reset right before the ball was snapped on the broadcast. Whether that was a broadcast error, it went from 14 to 40, and then again to 25. So I don't know if that's an error on the broadcast. I don't know if that's an error on the play clock. I don't know if there was a legitimate reason why the play clock was reset. But even if that was just an error on the broadcast, and you can see it again, it goes from 14 to 40 to 25. And so when the ball is snapped, it shows 23 on the play clock, which is utterly unacceptable. You cannot be snapping the ball when you're trying to finish off a win with 23 seconds on the clock. But I don't know if it's 23 or if that's just an error from NBC or from something internal on the clock. I don't know. But even if it was an error, you still snap the ball with 9 seconds on the play clock. And you can say, well, they haven't used their timeouts yet, so right now you're still just trying to get you appeared rushed. Watch it again. They rushed to the line to get the play off. It's crazy to me. I don't know how to make sense of it. I don't know if it's a Lamar thing where we talked about this before. Lamar is so desirous of just being the guy that goes and makes plays that you can't get him to slow down in those moments and prioritize.
You go to what Wilcox was saying, I like to be on the aggressive. I always want to be going after points, and that's kind of what they've been doing. Even though it is just a off-tackle handoff to Derrick Henry here, that has been your best play all day. So, that you feel like that is the best play of the call right there. You're eager to
how to make sense
keep the momentum going. I don't know.
I don't know how to make sense of that, the clock not going down to 1.
That's annoying.
Don't know how to make sense of it.
I still default to Harbaugh though, just because of the fourth down decisions. Like and Ben Baldwin, I was going to reference it too, but the Seattle in 2019, like what happened to that team where your coach and your quarterback are on the same page the entire time? Harbaugh never mentioned the cramps that Lamar had. Again, we don't. And this is what also makes this tough. We have no idea what's going on in the headsets. We have no idea what's going on the sideline. But what happened to that team that was they were going for it, and they did it against the Chiefs too, as we mentioned in 2021. Like everyone was afraid of Lamar Jackson, and they still are, and we're kind of letting them off the hook by taking Lamar Jackson off the field. I don't know. I think of cramping Lamar.
It's difficult for me now because I just don't have enough. And
do you take a time?
In an ideal world, today you get an answer from John Harbaugh about it, and he says, "Yeah, Lamar was not going to be able to go in for that play, and so because of that, we didn't have a choice."
Yeah, so is Lamar number one on this?
And then again it's a bigger question. Like he's not going to answer that. We're never going to know. Lamar answering it the way that he did is really weird. Gets to the point. Like you would expect that Lamar would say "Nah, man, let's just go get it, end the game." But it's not as obvious, right? Like if the ball's on the other 37-yard line, maybe it is more obvious. Where Lamar says, "We're not kicking a field goal. Come on, just let me go get the 3 yards, and the game will be over."
Yeah, that's what. It's all so incongruent with what we know about Lamar, what we've been told about Lamar, and him and his competitive appetite.
But that makes you wonder if, when he says cramps, it really was like, dude, something happened on that play before. I remember that was a pass play, so did he get hit on that? It was a pass play. I might have to do an NFL Plus to find it. Hang on a second. Sorry. I don't know if we'll be able to show it, but I'm gonna try to find it. Where did the cramps come in? It would be the question. And look, man, it doesn't matter because it's not going to change the result of the game. This is just sort of what it is. And it's extraordinarily frustrating, but I am so perplexed by it because I don't know. There is a part of me that says this is so wildly unacceptable that you're not this team anymore that I want to lose my mind about it. But is it possible that it's more complicated than that? Is it possible that it really is they didn't have a choice there because Lamar was hurt?
Here's the play. We're not showing it, but
This
here's
is 3rd and 9. Yeah. So,
is there contact with Lamar? I guess we'll we'll find out. So, we're watching the play. Oh, he does get hit.
He
late at
definitely
the
gets
end.
hit. There's no question about it. So when he says cramp, it's so weird that they called it
DeAndre Hopkins, not Zay Flowers. Why did I think it was the Zay Flowers?
They called it 4th and 2, but you can definitely tell that it was 4th and 3.
Oh, he does come up limping. Yeah.
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 So is it possible that they just had
so would you have taken you got all 3 timeouts. So if you don't get it, you got 3 timeouts. You can stop them.
Well, and this is where things get complicated. This is where it becomes complicated.
Yeah.
Do you want your 3 timeouts in case you got to get the ball back, or do you want a timeout there to figure out what you're doing? And I don't know. And they didn't show another replay of the hit.
We'll show one more behind angle.
We'd need an all 22. I mean, he definitely got
hit.
Got
hit. And then they cut to him briefly of him walking to the side.
Well, and
he's dragging his
the
leg
crazy part
almost.
is the Bills took a timeout. So you did have time
you're right,
to think about it. And presumably, if it's just a rough hit, that it gave Lamar enough time to figure out that he's all right. Everything that we're saying with the caveat of if Lamar Jackson was capable of going in on that play. If he was, I can never defend the decision.
If he wasn't, do you have Cooper Rush hand it to Derrick Henry?
No. If he wasn't, then I'm okay with the punt. They kind of don't have a choice. But John Harbaugh's taking number 1 anyway, just because it's all of it. It's all of it. It's the way that it goes. All right, quickly, let's do a picks recap, and I would prefer not to. It was
all right, then I can lead the way, I guess.
Miserable week. God bless Mike Loxley for going for the cover on Friday night. Kind of embarrassing.
That they had to go for the cover?
Well, not that they had to go for the cover. Kind of embarrassing that they had the play. It's just they had two guys in the same area. I went to the Maryland game on Friday night.
How was it?
What
do you mean, ugh? They won.
Yeah, they won.
Football.
They won. It was very bad. It was a very bad football game. It was unwatchable. There was nobody in the building.
I was upset, too, because Otani got pulled after 3 innings, so that was annoying.
Oh, yeah, you were at the Orioles game.
Yeah.
Just awful. I mean, just an awful football experience, unfortunately. But, yeah, they went for it. And, like, could you argue it was the right thing to do there? That, like, you know, you already had a 2-score lead. Just going up by 2 touchdowns doesn't really change anything. Go for the 3-score lead so that you definitively end the game in that moment. You could argue it's the right thing to do in that spot. Ironically, they got the ball back and missed a kick on top of, like, it's crazy.
They're working out the kinks now. They'll be ready for it.
But, yeah, you can argue the right thing to do is to go to try to make it a 3-score game. Hilariously, you have the play. You have a guy wide open in the end zone, but you actually have 2 guys wide open in the end zone in the same spot of the end zone, and the wrong guy goes for the ball. And so because of it, you don't get it, and you only win by 11 instead of covering. And it's like there's great irony to this, in that, like, I don't know what I know. We like Thomas Hammock; he's a great guy. I have no idea what Northern Illinois was doing. Like, they decided the only way they could win was by running the ball and playing defense, and, like, they did that
I mean, they
to
were
some
hanging in
extent.
there.
But they kept doing it when they were down 2 scores in the fourth quarter. With, like, no, it was the weirdest football game I've ever watched. It was unwatchable. It was bad.
You tell me a 20-9 football game wasn't
bad.
Didn't have you on the edge of your seat
Bad,
the whole way?
bad all around. But yes, because of that, Maryland does not cover, and Ken, Kyle, Stecca, and Griffin were on Northern Illinois. They get that point because of the goofy play in the end zone. A lot of goofy this weekend.
And now it's just a tough, gritty squad coming to College Park this weekend.
Towson, 2-0.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, they
Yeah,
beat
2-0.
Morgan. They came back and won on Saturday night. UAB Navy. Navy's defense, little shaky early on. They ultimately win by 2 scores. All's good, but little shaky. They don't cover the 21.5. So the 2, Jeremy Kahn and Joe Serpico, who are on UAB.
The non-Patriots, yeah.
Yeah, they steal a point there. Yeah, good for them. Michigan, Oklahoma, not. It was closer in score than I thought it was in game.
Yeah, John Mateer.
Yeah,
pretty good.
Yeah, he did definitely look good.
He did have 1 turnover, didn't he?
KZ, Joe, John, Griffin, Jeremy, and Stecca all get that as they win.
Boomer.
They win by 2 scores. Dallas, Philly on Thursday night. Most of us were on Philly. John and Little Rock, Griffin, Jeremy, and Andrew Stecca steal points on Dallas as they do get the cover, as the number was 8.5, and they keep it a 1-score game. Kansas City, that was really surprising on Friday night. Not just that they lost, but, like, they just didn't look.
They looked outmatched. Yeah.
Yeah, like this was kind of an ass kicking, and I know it ended up being a 1-score game because Patrick Mahomes made some magical plays at the end, but it was a butt kicking. Andrew, Jeremy, and KZ on that as the Chargers not just cover, they win outright in Sao Paulo. Pittsburgh, New York. Felt really good about that. Felt really good. Jets up 2 scores in the second half. Justin Fields' show is on. Even when they got the ball back, like at the end, I'm like, yeah, man. Yeah. They're doing the thing.
And they thought they had game of the day, too.
Yeah. Credit to Jalen Ramsey. Made a huge play, obviously, on Garrett Wilson at the end. And, give credit to Aaron Rodgers, who certainly for at least 1 week looked the part. I mean, it wasn't a perfect performance, but it was really good. I mean, the Jets stink, I think, so I don't really know what to make of it, but it happened, and you can't deny the fact that it happened. And everybody who said, "Oh, what are you doing there?" I mean, I still watch that game and say I can't fathom why you would choose this route instead of just trying to figure out if Justin Fields can be a quarterback. Like I'll never get it, and Fields looked great
It wasn't
yesterday.
obvious they won.
Yeah, fair enough.
Chris Collinsworth logic, they won. So
yeah, right. That's all that matters. Stetka, Stetka, Jeremy, and James were on the Jets, and the Jets get the cover as Pittsburgh was favored by 2.5, won by 32. Correct. Very impressive from the Rams. Looked very good yesterday. Devontae Adams getting into the mix.
I don't like Puka Nacua. I didn't know that they switched numbers. I don't love Puka Nacua going to 12.
Oh, you got a problem with the number?
I do. I mean, well, also, I guess it's a respect thing, but Devontae Adams is going to be there, a year?
Yeah, probably. You're probably right about
that.
That's
So now,
fair.
is he going to go back to 17 after Devontae leaves, or is he staying at 12? People have Puka jerseys. Whatever.
Okay.
Anyway. That upsets me.
Anyway, the Rams were favored by 3.5. And
Puka's
of course,
the franchise. That's,
what?
Puka's the franchise. I don't know, that's why.
If you say so.
I don't like it.
All right. Anyway.
Devontae can go to something weird, like 7, that would make sense.
Something like that.
Number 1, maybe.
Those of us that were on Houston, like myself and Stetka and
you're just
Jeremy
so bummed out. I had a good week.
Joe,
I
John, and
pretty
Little
good
Rock. By the way, the only people that were on the Rams were Proctor, Kyle,
and me,
you, and James. So
okay.
Good for you. Good for you.
Yeah,
they went by.
I know football, so.
That was a pretty bad game in the end.
It was
for being two exciting teams, you were definitely expecting more than that.
It's probably because Puka wasn't allowed to wear 17.
It was a disappointing second part of Red Zone yesterday.
It was.
It was a real
going into Sunday Night Football, the unders were 11-1 on the day.
Yeah. And Detroit Green Bay was.
And just like we all predicted,
was impressive from Green Bay, but it wasn't a competitive game. And then the games that were competitive, it was competitive but not entertaining. Yeah. It was just a weird day all around. Detroit Green Bay, as we mentioned, Paul is now 2-13 on the season. 8 games back.
Is Paul confused? Is he thinking?
I don't know.
Is he supposed to be? Know. He's like, you're supposed to be picking the other. You're supposed to be picking winners.
I feel really bad about being 6-9, although 6-9.
Nice.
I feel really bad about that, but thankfully I'm not 2-13. I am 6-9, but I'm as close to the bottom of the table as I am to the top of the table, which is the nice part. Stetka and Jeremy are now both 10-5 after 7-2 weeks. The high water mark. Griffin is a game back of them after a 6-3 week. Then James, Kyle, and Joe all 2 games back. Proctor and KZ 3 games back. Myself and John Little Rock 4 games back. Ryan Shell 5 games back, and Paul Valley bringing up the rear 8 games back. We'll come back in. We'll get a tidbit and two-bit to wind things down. Yeah, on a Monday edition of Glenn Clark Radio.
For fans of the Costas Inn, and who isn't, I have some great news. Now there's a second location to go along with 4100 North Point Boulevard. This one is at the Timonium OTB. This is Stan the Fan, and I have been a fan of the Costas Inn and Triantafalo's family for going on 30 years. They're open for lunch and dinner, same great Costas feel, same great menu and quality food you've been enjoying for well over 50 years. The exact address on your GPS is 2200 York Road, and their phone number at the new location is 667-406-1970. If you're new to the Costas experience, get ready for a real treat. All wrapped up in a new spacious dining room in Timonium at the OTB. If you want steamed crabs, you have them, and the full menu at 4100 North Point Boulevard. The number for reservations there at Costas, 410-477-1975.
Game day gets even better at Live Casino. Score a live jersey on September 6th and bucket hat on September 27th. Plus, catch our big plays, big pays hot seats on select game days. When the home team scores, the prize pool doubles. And we'll give away a $50 sports and social gift card with every touchdown. Take it to the end zone at Live Casino.
Edition of Press Box is available now. On the cover, Bo Smolko profiles Ravens running back Derrick Henry and how the football legend has proven to be a unicorn at the position with the success that he's found after the age of 30. Also inside, Brandon Schwartzberg looks at Kobe Mayo's push to find rhythm at the big league level. And we mark the start of the college football season by meeting players from all 4 FBS and FCS programs throughout the state. Press Box is available for free at over 500 locations throughout the region, including 60 Royal Farm stores. Or you can read the entire issue online at PressBoxOnline.com, where you can also find great betting advice and the best daily coverage of the Orioles, Ravens, and Terps.
Feeling sluggish, unfocused, or not like yourself? It could be low testosterone. At Game Day Men's Health, we specialize in testosterone replacement therapy to help men boost energy, improve mood, and regain confidence. Our treatments, including testosterone cypionate, are safe, natural, and tailored to fit your lifestyle with weekly injections or pellet therapy. Get started today with a free testosterone test and feel the difference. GameDayMen'sHealth.com. Game Day Men's Health, where men reclaim their game.
Contrary to what some people believe, I actually like this guy when he sleeps. Glenn Clark, talking sports.
All right, winding down for a Monday edition of the program, and what a fun day it's been. It's been brought to you by County Sports Zone. CountySports.zone is the website. Everything you need to know about high school sports here in the state of Maryland, including a meaningless exhibition that was played between Perry Hall and Glen Burnie this week that obviously...
what happened?
No, I mean, it was just a meaningless exhibition. Why would anybody care?
Let me see. Well, let me just look up the result of that.
It doesn't matter.
Of that meaningless exhibition.
It doesn't
I'm just curious.
matter
Well,
what
just
happened.
Curious.
But if you want to know about it, you can go to countysports.zone, which is proudly sponsored by your local Toyota dealer, and buyatoyota.com. Everything you need to know about high school sports in the state of Maryland, scores, schedules, rankings, all of that. It was an exhibition. It doesn't count. It doesn't.
Okay, according to County Sports Zone, this was County Sports Zone?
Well, they don't make many mistakes there, but
No, they don't.
that must be the one.
Apparently,
must be
apparently
what
Perry Hall
happened
lost
there.
by 2 touchdowns.
No, I don't think that's the case.
In this
but
very
again,
meaningful, very much meaningful
it's
game.
because they weren't trying.
Perry
It
Hall,
was a
they didn't know that.
It was a meaningless
They
exhibition.
didn't know that it was.
It didn't matter.
That it was a football game.
Get it all at countysports.zone, proudly sponsored by your local Toyota dealer and buyatoyota.com. Safe home, Davy Johnson. The Davy Johnson story in Baltimore is complicated, right? Because as a player, I don't know that Davy Johnson really ever gets the credit that he deserves for the caliber of baseball player. That's the part that you can't ever get over. Is that you still came home tied 1-1 in the ALCS and just lost 3. And then the 97 thing, that's the bitter one because the 97 team was the best team. And you faced the Indians, and you just had these goofy games where Mike Messina pitches his brains out, but you can't score a run despite having this loaded lineup. And then the goofy steal of home that allows the Indians to win. I think that was game 4, if I remember correctly, of the 1997 ALCS. And that's how they went up 3-1. It was either game 3 or game 4. Because then the Orioles did win on the Eric Davis home run to force the series back to Baltimore, but lose game 6 because they couldn't freaking score. So then you have Davy Johnson getting fired on the day that he was named Manager of the Year because of his relationship with Peter Angelos, and you can never really get over that. Peter Angelos didn't love how Davy Johnson handled the Roberto Alomar thing and the fine going to Davy's wife's charity. It's all so much. And it kind of spoke to the start of what became the dysfunction of the Orioles from 1998 to 2011. And so you tie in the end of Davy Johnson's tenure with what the Orioles became in the dark ages. It's all really complicated. And it sucks that Davy Johnson, who was a great Oriole and a great manager, just never really kind of treated like he was home here. It's part of what you enjoyed about seeing John Miller here this weekend is like you're not saying it publicly, but you're righting a wrong. Like John Miller was wronged in Baltimore, period. And he was wronged by Peter Angelos. And it was shameful. And I'm not trying to spit on the dead, but there's no getting around it. John Miller was wronged. And that was nonsense that he was fired. John Miller is one of the great broadcasters of a generation. And whatever Peter Angelos' opinion was about things that John Miller said or the way that he dressed or anything like that, you figure that out. It was shameful that John Miller was fired. And so without saying it out loud this weekend, without publicly apologizing, the Orioles righted a wrong by making John Miller such a significant part of the Cal Ripken festivities, and you hope that they would do more to recognize John Miller's contributions to the Orioles and how beloved he was. And it's a shame that Davy Johnson never really got that in Baltimore, that bridge was never repaired so that he could come back and just be loved and appreciated in Baltimore for what he did as a player and also as a manager. It's a huge bummer. Safe home, Davy Johnson, and much appreciation for everything that he gave to Baltimore during his life in baseball. Let's get a tidbit. Tidbit is brought to you today by the print issue of Press Box, which is still available. Derrick Henry is on the cover. It is a great story from Bo Smolka. Go get it today.
He's doing a good job holding the football in that picture.
Stop it.
What do you mean stop? I'm not doing anything.
Do it.
Brian Powell shared with me, much contrasted to the Ravens, Navy football has won 74 after Saturday, 74 consecutive home games when leading after 3 quarters, which is the longest streak in the nation. Last time Navy lost at home when leading after 3 quarters of football was October 1999. When Navy held a 2-touchdown lead over Akron. Sorry, a 16-point lead over Akron, and then ended up losing 35-29. They had a 29-13 lead entering the fourth quarter. But yeah, so Navy on a very much long streak of winning games that they lead late, especially at home. And I mean, let's see. I mean, I think I had. Let's just do the tennis one, I guess, because those are more pleasant. So Opta Ace pointed out the players that spent the most time on the court, both the men's and women's, across the 4 Grand Slam events this season. What women's player spent the most time, hours, minutes, on the court in women's slams? So across from first round all the way to the final. Who's
no idea. Couldn't possibly tell you. It's just too random.
Well, I mean,
I'm just guessing. I'm just naming players for the sake of naming them. Steffi Graf.
No. This season.
Sorry, this season.
Sorry, this season.
Who spent the most time?
Yeah, on the court in women's slams.
Sabalenka.
Yes, Serena Sabalenka.
Yeah,
44 hours.
She made deep runs at all of them. That makes sense.
And then any guess who will be second? And then I'll just tell you the top 5.
Anisimova.
No, Anisimova was 3rd.
Okay. Iga.
Do you not want to do tidbit? What's going on?
No,
here?
it's
What's
just
going on
I don't know why we're doing a
do
tennis.
we
With all due respect, I love tennis. It's a really
all right,
weird
fine.
tidbit today.
Well, because I
Like,
had a
this
good
is
Derrick
very
Henry. I had a
goofy.
good Derrick Henry one, and I feel like it doesn't. Our Derrick Henry passed Jim Brown for the most rushing touchdowns all time.
Okay.
Who are the top 5? He's 6th. Derrick Henry's 6th. Who are the top 5?
Yeah, and they put the list up last night, and I can't remember who was on it.
Because tennis happened, I thought I wanted to end the show maybe on a positive note, so I was going to talk about your favorite thing.
Well, Amanda Anisimova lost.
Okay, so does that mean the tennis didn't happen?
It happened. It's just a bummer. It wasn't a. It's a real bummer that she made it to 2 slam finals, couldn't win either one of them. Emmitt Smith is high on the list.
Emmitt Smith, how high?
He's number 1.
He is number 1. 164 rushes into the end zone for Emmitt Smith.
Walter Payton.
Walter Payton is 3 touchdowns, or I guess this was. I think they shared this before the second touchdown, so he's 2 touchdowns ahead of Derrick Henry. Yes, 110 for Walter Payton.
LaDainian Tomlinson.
How high on the list is he?
I don't know. He's 3.
No.
4.
No.
Come on, man. Why are we doing this? He's 2.
You just said you didn't want to do the tennis tidbit.
No,
That's
I
why
didn't
we're
want to do
doing
the
it.
tennis tidbit, but we're just this nonsense to guess where he is on the list. Who cares?
Because it's
tell
fun.
Tell
That's
me
why.
and move on.
He's 2nd.
It's 12:30.
145 touchdowns for LT. Will he catch LT?
I don't know. I have no idea.
He's 38 touchdowns behind LT right now.
Marshall Faulk.
Not Marshall Faulk.
Walter Payton.
You already said Walter Payton. He is on the list.
Did say Walter Payton. How about? I definitely said that. I knew that. How about Marcus Allen?
Yes, Marcus Allen is on the list.
Where is he?
You tell me.
Jesus Christ,
He's
man.
3rd. He's 3rd on the list.
What are you doing today? You can't have a board.
I'm trying to do a
but
show.
But you're trying to spend time with me guessing a number.
I'm trying to do a show.
Frank Gore.
Not Frank Gore.
Adrian Peterson.
Adrian Peterson is 3 behind Marcus Allen, so he is 4th on the list. Emmitt Smith, LT, Marcus Allen, AP.
Congratulations to Arena Sabalenka and Carlos Alcaraz. They won the U.S. Open. Congratulations. It was not a classic.
Doesn't sound like you mean
imagination. I mean, I'm happy for them. I'm not really happy for Arena because she beat Anisimova. That's who I wanted to win. I can't lie about that. Alcaraz Sinner, I'm mostly indifferent, but since Sinner got popped once, I feel like I'm supposed to root for Alcaraz now. So Alcaraz, good. God love him. But it's this one, and they put me on peptide proteins, and it's been very beneficial for me. I don't feel sore and sluggish when I wake up in the morning. I can get on with my day. 443-264-4454 for Game Day Men's Health in Owings Mills. 443-266-3505 for Columbia. 240-931-3717 for Frederick. GameDayMen'sHealth.com. If you are a man of a certain age and you're just dealing with those sluggish, rundown feelings, perhaps you're dealing with stubborn belly fat, perhaps you're dealing with performance issues in the bedroom, they got you covered. Game Day Men's Health and GameDayMen'sHealth.com. All right, here's what's coming up totally tubular-wise this evening. Monday Night Football. What do I need? I need
10. No, I need 11 points from DJ Moore.
Well, the problem is in one of the leagues that I play in, I don't actually know what I need because we're doing a Rumble week where it's like the 6 teams with the best scores.
Oh, interesting.
Interesting. And my team had done nothing until Josh Allen last night.
God, I know. I thought I was going to win, and then the guy I was playing had Josh Allen, so I need 11 points from DJ Moore.
I still have Justin. Right now I'm sitting at 77 points. I have Justin Jefferson and DJ Moore and the Vikings defense all to go tonight.
So you got 3.
I have 3.
Including Justin Jefferson.
Justin Jefferson, DJ Moore, Vikings defense. Looking at the... All right, nobody cares. Why am I doing this? Why am I doing this?
Hey,
no,
I care.
I don't. What am I doing?
What do they have?
Vikings Bears tonight, Monday Night Football to wrap up week 1. It's on ESPN and ABC, and there's a Manning cast tonight on ESPN too. Also, I don't care how many times Chris Collinsworth and Mike Tirico tried to put it over. What in the ever-loving F was that open? What in the world? Your open for Ravens-Bills was Peyton Manning and his son watching an old Peyton-Eli game? What in the world?
Well, yeah, they're like brothers, Josh and Lamar.
What? That was horrible. And no matter how many times, 10 times during the game, they tried to put over Peyton Manning's son, which I guess maybe makes sense for Chris Collinsworth because he's trying to put over nepotism because, anyway. But like...
He's trying to put over nepotism. Ray Lewis didn't even barely acknowledge Jack Collinsworth when he crashed the Football Night in America set.
Man, I don't even I have nothing personal against Jack Collinsworth. He's not good. I'm sorry. I can't. If this means I'm not getting the job at NBC, I'll live. Jack Collinsworth offers nothing. Has never offered anything in any role, and I don't know if it's just that he's miscast or he's just not good at this. I can't figure out what it is. But my God, do they keep trying to make it happen?
He's got that sweet, sweet southern accent, though.
They just keep trying their damnedest to make Jack Collinsworth a thing. And look, man, nepotism sometimes works. Noah Eagle is phenomenal. He's great. If you can do it, Joe Buck proved pretty quickly he was very good at this. Did he get his opportunity before he deserved it? Absolutely. Same way Noah Eagle got more opportunities before he deserved them. But they proved they were able to do it. I am so confused as to what they think Jack Collinsworth is.
Just a few more Big Ten basketball games on Peacock.
God.
He'll figure it out.
I've never, ever in my life seen something that made me say,
I'm rooting for him.
Okay, good for you.
Because I got to listen to him. So
yeah, right. I mean, I hope if they're going to keep putting out there, I hope he gets better. I hope that he has something to offer, man. But my God, like, what is it that they see in that? I'm so confused. Vikings Bears tonight, 8:15. Everything else, just go to glennclarkradio.com. That's it. That's what you're watching is football. Non-sports?
Nah, not really. Secrets of Celebrity Sex Tapes on A&E at 9 o'clock.
So nothing.
You want to watch that?
So nothing.
8-part docuseries.
So nothing.
On A&E.
Just say nothing and move on.
Fallon's got a nice lineup. Fred Armisen, Olivia Cook, Offset, and JID.
They actually are promoting. They're plugging a sex tape they all did together.
Really?
Yeah, they
Those
all
4?
Correct. I know it sounds. Yeah, a lot of combinations in there, right?
Is Fred Armisen cosplaying as Uncle Fester from Wednesday?
I probably shouldn't say those types of things, but whatever.
What are they going to? I mean, yeah, you're just burning bridges with NBC left and right here.
All right, let's just.
Cillian Murphy and Lady Gaga, they're on Colbert tonight.
Great, they're plugging Oppenheimer 2 Electric Boogaloo. That's
Kyle Oppenheimer 2.
Is that what I said? Oppenheimer. I I love that. All right, let's go. Thanks today to Dan Wilcox. Thanks to Ben Baldwin. We'll get it up in the greatest hits section of the
Aspiration
tab at glennclarkradio.com. Bo's going to join us tomorrow. We'll do lineups with Joe Serpico, or we'll do Waiver Wire Wednesday with Joe Serpico, stuff and things.
Yes.
Great. Hopefully, real stuff and real things. Thanks to everybody at PressBox, all of our great sponsors and partners, including Game Day Men's Health, countysports.zone, your local Toyota dealer, buyatoyota.com, the Costas Inn, Live Casino and Hotel, the Maryland 5-Star. Also thanks to the Maryland Cycling Classic. Congratulations. Had a great event this weekend. And Nick's Fish House. Thanks to Griffin at Griffin_Bass. Follow us, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Glenn Clark Radio. Have a great Monday evening. Go nobody. Duke sucks.